There's a version of you the world has memorized. Predictable, emotional, easy to read. The one who reacts too fast, explains too much, defends things that don't even need defending, and tries to fix people who were never ready to change. That version, people understand it. And because they understand it, they know exactly how to control it. But there's another version of you, one that moves differently, quiet, centered, unbothered. This version doesn't rush to speak, doesn't feel the need to prove anything, doesn't chase approval or beg to be understood. It observes, it chooses, it stays in control. And the truth is, most people in your life have never met this version of you because it doesn't react the way they expect. It doesn't give them the emotional access they're used to. And the moment you step into that energy, everything shifts. The same people who knew how to push your buttons start feeling confused. The same people who once controlled your reactions start losing their grip, because when you stop being predictable, you become powerful. And when you stop reacting, you become untouchable. Here's the truth. No one sits you down and tells you. Power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need volume. It doesn't need attention. And it definitely doesn't need to win every argument in the room, because loud reactions are often a sign of lost control. Anyone can raise their voice. Anyone can try to prove a point. Anyone can fight to be right. But real power, it's quiet. It's the discipline to feel anger rise, to feel your ego get hit, to feel the urge to respond instantly, and still choose silence. That's control. Because the moment someone can predict your reaction, they can manipulate it. The moment they know what triggers you, they know how to move you. Think about that. If a few words can shift your mood, if someone's tone can ruin your entire day, if drama keeps pulling you back in, then they're not just talking to you, they're controlling you piece by piece. And what's dangerous is most people think they're standing up for themselves, when in reality, they're just reacting on command. That's not power. That's dependence disguised as strength. Real power begins when your emotions stop being someone else's weapon. People don't try to control you because you're weak. They do it because you're valuable, your attention is valuable, your energy is valuable, your emotions are valuable, and not everyone has access to those things the way they want. So, what do? They try to provoke you, not always in obvious ways. Sometimes it's subtle, a comment, a tone, a little disrespect wrapped in a joke, just enough to get a reaction. Because for some people, your reaction is their validation. It makes them feel important. It makes them feel in control. It reminds them they can still affect you. And others, they test you over and over again. They cross lines, push limits, say things they know will get under your skin, just to see if you'll respond the same way you always have. Because if you do, you confirm something to them without saying a word. I still have access to you. I can still reach you. I can still control how you feel. And the more you react, the stronger that belief becomes. That's why it keeps happening. Not because they don't know better, but because it keeps working. And until you change your response, nothing else will change. So this is where everything shifts. Not on the outside, but within you. You stop trying to win every moment. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop proving your worth to those who already decided how they see you. And instead, you go quiet, but not a weak silence. not the kind that comes from fear or confusion. This is a different kind of quiet. It's controlled, it's intentional, it's powerful, because silence, when used right, says everything without saying a word. It creates space between you and the chaos. It makes people question instead of assume. It cuts off the emotional access they once had to you. And when that access disappears, so does their control. Now, here's what most people don't expect. When you stop reacting, they don't stop. They escalate. They push harder. They get louder. They try new ways to pull you back in because they're not used to this version of you. They're used to getting something, a reaction, an explanation, a response. But this time, they get nothing. No emotion, no engagement, no energy. And that silence, it unsettles them because for the first time, they can't reach you anymore. Let me give you 3 silent moves. Not loud, not dramatic, but powerful enough to change how people experience you instantly. 1, the pause. Before you say anything, pause. Not to impress them, not to play games, but to collect yourself. Because most people react in seconds. They speak from emotion, from ego, from impulse. But you slow it down. And in that small moment of silence, you take your power back. You create space between what you feel and what you choose to do next. That's where control lives. And sometimes the strongest response you can give is none at all. No explanation, no defense, just composure. 2, the detachment. You need to understand this. Everything does not deserve your energy. Every opinion doesn't matter. Every comment isn't important. Every person isn't worth your attention. Detachment isn't cold, it's clarity. It's knowing who and what actually deserves access to you. You can listen to someone, even understand where they're coming from, and still decide, I'm not engaging with this. No anger, no frustration, just distance. That's a different level of power because now you're not reacting based on emotion. You're choosing based on self-respect. 3, the disappearing act. This is where it gets real. You stop showing up in places where you're tolerated instead of valued. You stop entertaining conversations that drain you. You stop feeding energy into situations that don't grow you, and you don't announce it. You don't explain it. You just move differently, quieter, smarter, more intentional. You remove yourself from chaos and let your absence do the talking. Because when your presence is no longer available, people start to feel what they lost. And sometimes that silence hits harder than any words ever could. Because the truth is, your presence is powerful. And not everyone deserves access to it. When you start moving like this, calm, controlled, unbothered, something shifts and people feel it immediately. They get uncomfortable because they were used to a version of you that reacted, a version they could predict, a version they could pull into their energy whenever they wanted. But now, that version is gone and it confuses them. They start asking questions they never had to ask before. Why aren't they saying anything? Why didn't they respond this time? Did I lose my influence over them? Do they even care anymore? And that uncertainty, it bothers them because the dynamic has changed. See, the game only works when you participate. It only works when you react, when you explain, when you give them something to work with. But the moment you step back, the entire power structure flips. Now they're the ones thinking about you, replaying conversations, analyzing your silence. Now they're the ones feeling the tension, the loss of control. Because for the first time, they can't predict you. They can't reach you. and they can't move you the way they used to. That's when you realize silence didn't make you weaker. It made you untouchable. But this was never just about them. It's about who you become in the process. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything, you start experiencing something rare, peace, not temporary peace, not silence on the outside, while chaos lives inside. Real peace, the kind that comes from knowing you don't have to engage with everything that tries to reach you. You stop exhausting yourself over opinions that don't matter. You stop overthinking conversations that don't deserve your time. You stop pouring energy into people who never valued it. And slowly, you change. You become more grounded, more aware, more in control of yourself. You're not easily triggered anymore, not easily shaken, not easily pulled into drama. You listen more, you observe more, you speak less, but when you do, it carries weight. You become harder to read, harder to manipulate, harder to break. And here's the most powerful part. You don't feel the need to prove any of it. No announcements, no explanations, no validation needed. Because it's not something you show, it's something people feel in your presence, in your silence, in your energy. Without you saying a single word, they just know you're not the same anymore. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, pause. Not because you're unsure, but because you're in control. The next time they push your buttons, smile. Not to please them, but because you understand something they don't, you're no longer available for that game. And the next time they expect you to react, to argue, to defend, to explain, give them something they're not ready for, silence. Because silence isn't weakness. It's discipline. It's confidence. It's knowing your energy is too valuable to be spent on every moment, every person, every situation. Not everything deserves your voice. Not everything deserves your attention. And not everyone deserves access to you. Sometimes the loudest message you can send is no message at all. And when you truly master that, you stop being easy to read, easy to trigger, easy to control. You become calm in chaos, still in pressure, unshaken in moments that used to break you. And that's when everything changes, because the same people who once had power over your emotions now feel your distance, your silence, your absence, and they realize they can't reach you anymore. That control, it's gone for good. CTA, call to action. If you've ever felt controlled by someone's words, someone's attitude, someone's energy, drop silent power in the comments. Let it be a reminder to yourself that you're choosing a different path now. And if you're ready to move smarter, stronger, more controlled than ever before, make sure you subscribe, because this isn't just motivation, this is transformation. And this is how you take your power back.